Okay, so I'm gonna show you guys how I make Chipotle chicken. You're gonna need boneless, skinless chicken thighs and try to get about 1 pound. I could only find chicken thighs with the skin and bone on, so I went ahead and removed some of the bone and skin on a few of them. Here I have one right here. You're gonna need some olive oil, sea salt, black pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, oregano, paprika, and ground cumin. You're also gonna need a can of Chipotle peppers in adobo sauce. Okay. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you how I prepare the chicken thighs. So assuming you have a boneless, skinless chicken thigh, this is the outside portion that usually faces outward. And this is the inside portion that's usually against the bone. So after I remove the bone, and you can buy them without the bone already, you'll see that one half is a little bit thicker than the other half. So you see how this side is a little bit thicker than this half. I take my knife and I'll fillet that thicker part just so the chicken thigh cooks more evenly. So here you'll see that now it's one flat surface. So what I'm gonna do is wash my hand and then we'll season it up. So we're gonna start off with some sea salt. Make sure you get the entire surface. Then some ground black pepper. Then onion powder. And I use onion powder, not onion salt. That way we don't over salt our dish. Then some garlic powder. And again, garlic powder, not garlic salt. Then I'll put on some paprika. You can use smoked paprika, I'm just using regular paprika here. Normally I'll do multiple chicken thighs at a time, but here I'm just doing it on one to show you guys. Then I'll put on some dried oregano. And some ground cumin. You can kind of see how I spread it out, kind of like a wall or wave of seasoning going across the chicken thigh. That way I'm not really missing any of the surface. Let's do a light tap and you'll see it'll coat an even surface of the chicken thigh. You can put some oil on the chicken thigh beforehand, but I didn't have to just because there's enough moisture in the meat. Then we'll take our chicken thigh, use tongs, and just flip them over. If you have multiple thighs, again, you'll just season them all at once, then flip them all over, and then get the other side for all of them. Again, we'll just do the same thing on the other side. Salt, ground black pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, paprika, some dried oregano, and cumin, ground cumin. So what I'm gonna do now is to all my chicken thighs, once both sides are seasoned, I'm gonna flip it over one time, and kind of the weight of the chicken thigh or that pressure will make sure the seasoning sticks on it. So I'll give it a few taps. You'll see I'll flip it over and you'll see how the seasoning sticks on the chicken thigh. Any excess can fall off, but we have a solid amount here. When we go to shallow fry this or pan sear it, you'll see we'll get a nice crust on the chicken thigh. So what I'll do is I'll add our chicken thigh to a bowl, and I already have one prepared here. Remove our cutting board. And then I'll take our can of Chipotle peppers and adobo sauce. Usually if you're using about 1 pound of chicken thighs, you can just use the whole can. We'll dump it in there. And honestly, the best way to do it is just use your fingers. Then you'll mix it all into the chicken. Make sure you get a nice coating. And then what we'll do is we'll cover this with saran wrap. You can let it marinate in the fridge for, I would say, at least 2 hours, but overnight would be best. Okay, so it's been about 2 hours in the fridge. I'm just gonna give it one last mix. You can see the marinade's pretty well integrated with our chicken. Go over here. I have a cast iron skillet on my stove. I'm gonna set the heat to a medium high, and we'll let that heat up. Once it heats up, we'll add some olive oil. And I'm a big fan of making sure we have all of our logistics good. So I have olive oil here. Bring my tongs over here. And I try to get a plate ready for when all the food is cooked. So this plate right here. I have a splatter screen as well, just to help keep things pretty clean. So we'll wait for this to heat up, and we'll just bring our chicken thighs over. Okay, so now I can feel the heat pretty much bouncing off my hand. I'll know it's hot enough. I'll get about 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil. There we go. Take our chicken thigh. Make sure we grab it and we try to open it up, get it flat. What we're gonna do, I'll start off with the inside face down first. So I'll take it, you just lay it away from you. Give it a few presses. Make sure we don't overcrowd the pan. But we should be able to fit all 3 on this. Down and away, give it a few presses. One more here. And put it down. Few presses. We're going to need a little bit more olive oil here. I'll grab the oven mitt and make sure we get oil pretty much all around the meat. Let it sit there and then I'll cover it up. And we'll give that about 3 to 4 minutes until we see white come up off the edges. Or you'll see white come up the edges, and then we can flip it over. Okay, so it's been about 3 to 4 minutes. I'm gonna move my splatter screen. You'll see that the edges have started to become white. Now that's just a sign that we're able to flip them. So we'll take it, flip it away. Take it, flip away. One more, take it, and flip away. And this needs about 2 to 3 more minutes. We'll cover it back up. Let it do its thing. Okay, so it's been about 2 or 3 more minutes. You can see they're cooked when they're no longer pink on the inside. If you have a food thermometer, you can just stick it in and see if it's at least 165. And make sure you're not going through and touching the cast iron itself. So we're good. Okay, so let's turn our heat off. We'll remove the chicken thighs. And what I like to do is I like to take the cast iron and I move it off of the stove just so it doesn't burn. Here we go. Let it rest for at least 5 to 10 minutes and then you can cut it up and serve it. But this is your Chipotle chicken.